When I was drafting this video talking about how I was able to reach 1,000 subscribers after over a year and a half of YouTube work, I was really thinking. I was racking my brain for what to talk about because we've already covered so much. How to make better content, how to make content geared specifically towards your audience, how to figure out who your audience is. And I realized that a few months ago, I was singing the high praises of YouTube search for small creators, talking about how important YouTube search is in my overall content strategy. And while that is still true, while YouTube search I think is a great way to grow if you're just starting out, I actually regret saying that now. I've noticed that a lot of my search-driven content is attracting the wrong kind of audience for the content that I'm making now. The reason that I was making search-driven content is because I wanted to get clicks, I wanted to get noticed, I wanted to rank in search, and I wanted to grow my audience, basically. But when you are just answering a question for someone, you turn your channel into a search engine, basically. So if you're just creating tutorials, if you're just creating explainer videos and stuff like that, you're not actually creating a connection, I think, with your audience. You're not establishing that kind of parasocial relationship where you allow people sort of to get to know you and you get to know them in turn through the comment section and figure out what they're looking for, figure out what their pain problems are, figure out how you can help them reach their goals. And the audience that you build on YouTube is so important. This step cannot be skipped. I think it's really important to build a solid relationship with the people that watch your content, and focusing only on search really hindered me in this regard. I mean, also because that content was just bad. Focusing only on search for my content made me into a teacher or a search engine type of creator, and that's just not who I wanted to be, because still, fundamentally, I am very much still a student when it comes to oils, gouache, watercolor, growing online even. That's pretty clear from my sub count right now. But when I was making all of this search-driven content, I always did it for stuff that I felt like I knew a little bit about, but I wasn't establishing that relationship. And since then, not only have I improved my content, but I've also started making content that shows more of me as a person. I've talked about growing up low income. I've talked about the limiting mindset that prevented me from pursuing art in college. And I think that's the kind of stuff that really resonates with people. If you are just focusing on search, you are really selling yourself short. The thing that I did to get me 1,000 subscribers on YouTube was to create a variety of content. Not only like variety in subject, but variety in style. I continued to make some search-driven content, but I did it like purposefully, far more deliberately than before, where I was really trying to hone in on exactly the types of things that my desired audience wanted to know, like how to make a content calendar, how to grow your following online. And by targeting that kind of stuff, I was able to build a far better connection with you guys, but also it was just more enjoyable for me to create, and I stopped focusing exclusively on search. I started to post more painting videos, more vlogs. I started to get a little bit more human with my titles. So I stopped trying to fit my titles chock full of keywords. I know that's a thing that a lot of YouTube tip YouTubers will tell you to do, but what they don't tell you is that a huge chunk, and in fact I think the majority of views on YouTube come from browse, features, and suggested in terms of traffic sources. Keywords don't really work there. You have to have the most interesting thumbnail and title that a viewer sees on their homepage or in suggested. You have to give someone a reason to click. That oftentimes is not actually a keyword-based strategy. You have to make someone curious. You have to pique their interest. Clickbait is sort of the extreme version of this, right? Stretching that believability of premise so far that it's so outlandish someone has to click. But the more moderate version of this extreme, I guess, is just making someone interested, making someone curious, making someone actually like want to know what happens next, and so they click. If you describe your video perfectly in the title and the thumbnail, if you don't give someone like a question implanted in their mind, like a little bit of curiosity, they probably aren't going to click on the homepage or on suggested unless they're really interested in your content. That's really what helped me reach 1,000 subscribers. Focusing on the human element and not so much the algorithm. Catering to the algorithm is, I think, a problem because fundamentally, the thing that will help YouTube suggest your videos is someone clicking on it. Someone, a person. You have to appeal to the person on the other end of the screen. And unless you do that, you're never going to grow. So you need to craft a strategy, and I talk about strategy a lot in my other videos, talking about how to reach your audience, etc. You have to figure out who your content is for and make the kind of content that they're actually interested in seeing. So my audience, primarily women from 18 to 35, live in the US or English-speaking countries, but aside from those demographics, what they're actually interested in, all of these people that I'm trying to target, is art. They want to become a full-time artist, they want to grow their audience, grow their skill set, and they just really, they love art. They love oil painting, they love gouache, they love watercolor, whatever they do, they want to get better at it and they want to be recognized for it and potentially even paid to do it. And like really making a super, super detailed description of who my audience is and what they care about, what they're afraid of, the problems they're facing, that took my content to an entirely new level. That made me focus on and create the types of videos that are taking off for me right now. But also, I started to get a little more experimental with my content, focusing on getting more creative with my lighting, getting more creative with my visual variety, i.e. changing my shot angles all the time, changing my camera angles often, especially in painting videos. This is so important. For voiceover videos, I cut like constantly. I'm constantly changing to new camera angles. I'm constantly putting overlays and text and just adding more interest to my content because, like it or not, audience attention spans are lower than ever. You can see this as an obstacle or something to weep over and feel sad about, or you can just accept it and craft your content in a way that appeals to this. So changing scenes and camera angles often fulfills this need for variety, and you don't have to fundamentally change the way that you create in order to appeal to this. You just have to be a little more cognizant of yourself and your attention span while you're editing. And that's basically all the stuff that I had to say for today's video. If you're interested in seeing more YouTube tips from me, watch this playlist right here. In it, I talk about everything under the sun, basically how to create your content calendar, how to brainstorm video ideas, how to make successful content. And I can't recommend that playlist enough. If you are even remotely close to thinking about creating a channel, that playlist is for you. Anyway, leave a comment down below with what you're interested in seeing from me next. I love making videos like this, but I really need more topics for you guys if I'm going to continue with this series because I'm running out of stuff to say. So give me ideas down below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Bye guys.